Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
Oh my God! Are you serious? He still can't guard me. He's a bum. He's been a bum. He's been a bum since '86. That's luck. I give you that check.
For months, I had the displeasure of witnessing some of the most unjustified slander towards a shonen protagonist. The Jujutsu Kaisen fandom had labeled Itadori Yuji to be a bum, a side character, a punch and kick merchant, and a fraud. People were treating Yuji like he was Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers. For months, I had to simply sit back and observe because the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom is the new gen One Piece fandom, a fandom where agenda runs rampant. I had to witness people claim that Yuji serves no purpose in the Shinjuku Showdown arc, that Gojo coming back would be the only logical development towards Sukuna's defeat because apparently Yuji is not good enough, even though in chapter 248 Yuji was the first individual to impact Sukuna to the point where he began questioning his own way of living. I had to witness people say that Gege doesn't like writing Yuji, and now with chapter 256 all of my feelings have been validated. I feel like Stoga right now. The Lisanal Gaib is here and everyone is shocked. Not me though, I've been here. The craziest aspect of this development is that I am now seeing people say that Gege finally remembered that Yuji is the protagonist, which is mind-boggling because Yuji has been cooking since chapter 244. Itadori Yuji has had the best performance against Sukuna since Gojo's death. It's not Kashimo, Higuruma, Chozo, or Kusakabe. It's not Maki, and it's not Yuta. It is Itadori Yuji, the master of Black Flash, the anti-Sukuna weapon. And in today's video, I will be going over Yuji's performance thus far and discussing the possibilities of how insane this awakening can become. Now, I call Yuji the anti-Sukuna weapon because that is his role in this battle. The two primary antagonists of Yuji's story are Maito and Sukuna. Earlier I discussed my confusion towards readers who saw no purpose in the belief that Yuji will be the one to bring down Sukuna. This opinion really does confuse me because I've come to notice that a lot of people that have this opinion hold the Shibuya incident arc to a high standard, an arc that is regarded to be the peak of JJK to a large section of the fandom. Yuji and Maito's ideological battle in Shibuya is amazing, and the realization Yuji comes to is one of the most iconic moments in the series. However, there is another hidden aspect of this fight that has gone unnoticed a lot of the time. Yuji and Maito's conflict is simply the prototype for Yuji and Sukuna's final confrontation, and just as Maito slowly broke down Yuji's fragile hero complex, Yuji alongside Jujutsu High are slowly forming cracks in Sukuna's hedonistic mindset, which I believe is awesome thematically. Yuji being the representation of everything that disgusts these two antagonists is the one that can fully counter them through the use of the power system. The Shinjuku Showdown arc has showcased that Yuji's bag has become extremely deep over the time skip, as through Yuki's research, Yuji now has a better understanding of the soul, seemingly able to swap souls with his opponent. Yuji is also able to inflict damage to an opponent's soul through contact, thus lowering their cursed energy output. With Yuji now going through an awakening, I believe this is the perfect moment for Gege to touch on the moment between Yuji and Kusakabe again, as throughout this arc Gege has been using flashbacks during the 1 month time skip to info dump. Now this ability is insane because Yuji's speed has increased over the time skip, plus with blood manipulation acquired, he now has ways to handle long distance and short distance situations. Obviously Yuji can't use convergence effectively right now, but he is going through an awakening off the high of Black Flash. Similar to Maito and Gojo, Yuji is going to start moving like Isagi in the next chapter. Like a version of Yuji plus a flowing red scale buff sounds insane, plus the possibility that Yuji finds a way to make soul damage be inflicted through blood manipulation techniques is scary. Imagine Yuji lands a supernova and each orb shot decreases Sukuna's output. Sukuna might be cooked, and I believe Yuji has the creativity to pull something off like this because this is the same guy that whipped out Divergent Fist on the fly against Maito and Shibuya. And guess what? A Divergent Fist packed with 2 soul impacts in 1 punch sounds cracked. Yuji after this awakening is going to be the most feared hand-to-hand character in the verse. Now aside from damage upgrades, Yuji has grown in terms of durability. In chapter 246, when Sukuna launches a couple of dismantle slashes at Kusakabe and Yuji, these Maito inspired arms that he has are able to deflect Sukuna's slashes. Now we know that Yuta had Rika eat the last of Sukuna's finger in order to gain the Temu version of Cleave, so I think that rules out the possibility of Yuji's arms being Sukuna related. Best guess is it's a combination of abilities from the death paintings Yuji consumed. A defensive hardening ability that alongside the fact that Yuji is now the equivalent of a cursed tool soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy is what's allowing his arms to reflex dismantle attacks, which if this were were to be true would be something foreshadowed in chapter 235 when Gojo knows that attacks of one's own curse energy won't affect the user as hard. Now through this awakening, Yuji's understanding of his soul ability just increases and he's able to enhance other areas of his body like his legs for example. Then he would become even more of a threat in this Sukuna raid, basically pulling a Chozo when he took inspiration from his brothers, but in Yuji's case it would be taking inspiration from Maito's instant body of distorted killing, which would continue the theme of having Maito forever leaving a scar on Yuji throughout the series. There's another interesting toolkit that might enter Yuji's bag. Chapter 238 and chapter 251 both have Sukuna and Yuji's curse energy being drawn in the same way. To touch on this, I saw a post from one of my mutuals that theorized that Yuji might be able to have 2 curse energy reserves, which is likely because the dude has been spamming reverse curse technique during this fight, and if that ends up being true, Yuji entering top 5 discussions won't be clowned upon. Keep in mind, everything that I talked about doesn't even include Yuji gaining Sukuna's technique or hitting black flashes at will. I don't think people truly understand how insane the possibility of Yuji hitting black flash at will is. That means as long as Yuji is making contact at a certain point, he will always regain his reverse curse technique output during a battle, just like Gojo. I don't even think I really need to go into how cracked Cleave and Dismantle are. Honestly, I think that would be too much for Yuji if he just ends up getting a copy and paste of Sukuna's toolkit. But even with all of these potential buffs, without Domain, I'm not sure if Yuji will be able to enter the realm of top tiers, which is why I believe Yuji will surpass Chozo and be the first character to use a Domain expansion using the blood manipulation technique. So yes, I do not think that Yuji will get a boxing ring Domain expansion. Another possibility is a Domain expansion inspired from self-embodiment of perfection, since Yuji seems to have a soul swap technique. Although Yuji getting Domain is something I'm the least confident in happening during this series. I think Sukuna losing to a kid that has no Domain would be the biggest slap in the face. Now in regards to my thoughts on how the next chapter will play out, I think it will develop in a typical shonen fashion. Yuji starts to get an upper hand with Sukuna, and that's when he will decide to lock in and unleash the black box, the Fuga, which will start up the Sukuna cycle discourse again, with people saying that Yuji's awakening was bait and didn't serve any purpose. So I'm expecting horrendous takes when the next chapter drops. Hopefully I'm wrong, but let me know in the comments how strong this awakening is going to be for the man chosen by the sparks of black, Itadori Yuji. Do you think it's going to be just black flash related, or will be a combination of things like discussed in this video? If you enjoy this style of JJK content, make sure to hit that like button with all of your curse energy. I also have a Discord where you can chat with me about anime related topics. Also consider becoming a channel member, so when I stream you can use all these cool emotes alongside other perks. And if you're someone that enjoys anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when it hit 10k you can brag about being a day one. I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.
So listen to everybody. Nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it? Don't let no one come into your house, take your meal, do what you need to do today. I'm not nervous. I'm just telling you.